6 habits that make a mature woman irresistible. You've seen her, confident, composed, captivating. There's something magnetic about her presence, something deeper than looks. This isn't about perfection, it's about maturity, about emotional depth and timeless wisdom. Inspired by Carl Jung's philosophy of individuation, today we explore 6 habits that elevate a woman's energy and make her genuinely irresistible. This isn't fluff, it's substance. Let's dive in. 1. She owns her solitude. A mature woman doesn't run from being alone, she embraces it. Solitude isn't a punishment or a sign of isolation, it's her sanctuary, her university. When you watch her walking alone with a book, or sitting quietly, sipping tea at dawn, what you're witnessing is self-possession. She's not filling silence with noise, she's listening. And in that mindfulness, she learns who she truly is. Carl Jung once described individuation as the process of becoming your true self, not what others expect you to be. And solitude is the laboratory for that transformation. In the quiet, she confronts her fears, her patterns, her longings. She asks hard questions. What do I truly want? Who am I beyond my roles? What gives me meaning? And she waits in stillness for the answers. Imagine her in a world obsessed with likes, highlight reels, noise. She doesn't mind if her phone rings or her social feed updates. She's not chasing approval or feeding on attention. She learns from other women's struggle to disconnect. She chooses differently. She senses the soul-breaking weight of constant stimulation and gently steps away, not as a statement, but as a lifestyle. There's fierce dignity in this choice. When she is alone, she is never lonely, because she knows belonging isn't always outside. She sits with herself in coffee shops, parks, and silent rooms. She reads, journals, plans, reflects. She faces her doubts and soothes them like a friend, not a foe. She recognizes her triggers, her shadows, her unresolved wounds, and instead of avoiding them, she walks toward them, one slow breath at a time. In this solitude, she builds clarity. She refuses to make decisions based on fear or hustle. She waits for her inner compass to align with her actions. That's why when she speaks, people listen. Her words aren't noise, they're clarity born of reflection. She doesn't speak to fill space, she speaks to illuminate it. And when she enters a conversation or a room, there's a quiet force about her, a centeredness that draws people in, not because she demands it, but because she embodies it. Her relationships are richer. She's not clinging. She's not waiting for someone to complete her. Instead, she encounters others from fullness, not need. She hugs because she chooses it, not because she fears silence. She encourages, listens, supports, but she also sets healthy boundaries because she's in tune with her own rhythm. And because she's comfortable alone, she makes space in your life without fear. She appreciates closeness, but she isn't dependent on it. She gives, but she doesn't overextend. She treasures companionship without needing it to feel validated. That balance translates to authenticity. People sense that she's not acting, performing, or wearing masks. She is whole, right now. This is not about elitism or isolationist wisdom. This is emotional intelligence in practice. It's the courage to be vulnerable with yourself first. It's the discipline to sit with discomfort. It's the emotional maturity to know that you are enough, even when no one else is around. That's magnetic, that's attractive, that's irresistible. 2. She reflects, not reacts. In a world that rushes toward impulse and drama, a mature woman pauses. She doesn't react, she reflects. She doesn't allow her emotions to hijack her judgment. She witnesses them, felt them, then constructs her response from clarity, not chaos. Think of the last time someone insulted you or cornered you with passive aggression. You quickly felt hurt or angry. Had your world spiraled forward, you might have snapped back. But moments later, you remembered, that person is upset, not you. That moment of reflection breaks the chain of hurt. That's what emotional maturity looks like for her. She might feel the jolt of betrayal, insecurity, or frustration. She's human, but she doesn't hand it over to the world. She takes it in, asks, what is this really? Why am I reacting like this? She doesn't just bottle it, she processes it. When anger arises, she becomes the eye of the storm. She breathes, she names the emotion. She lets it out through journaling, deep conversation, or healthy outlets like walking or art. She doesn't suppress it, but she ensures it doesn't suppress her. And when she speaks after that, every word comes from presence, not projection. In relationships, her response is healing. If conflict happens, she doesn't accuse. She unpacks. She explains her feelings using I statements. I felt hurt when, instead of, you made me feel. That distinction matters. It's disarming, encouraging conversation, not confrontation. Parents, co-workers, friends, they trust her not because she's always calm, but because she's reliable. They know, if she says, I need time, it's not avoidance, it's maturity. If she responds with, this hurts me, it's not complaining, it's clarity. She doesn't swap narratives for the sake of winning. She builds understanding. This habit is contagious. When you spend time with someone who responds over reacts, you learn to slow down, to choose your words, to pause before action. You feel seen and safe, and that safety is seductive. It's rare in a world addicted to immediacy. Ultimately, this habit reveals her inner stance. She's lived long enough to see hurt dissolve into wisdom. She's built enough resilience to handle her own storms. She trusts herself more than the crowd. And because she trusts herself, you feel allowed to trust her too. That is magnetic. That is attractive. That is irresistible. 3. She speaks her truth softly. There's a quiet power in her voice. Not because it's loud, because it carries. A mature woman speaks clearly, thoughtfully, and from a place of inner knowing. Her words aren't meant to impress, they're meant to connect. People lean in, instinctively. They trust what she says, because it feels authentic. She doesn't dominate conversations with her opinions. She offers perspective and insight, unassuming yet impactful. When she shares a truth that matters, you feel it, not just hear it. That's the art of speaking your truth softly. It's not about being heard for ego's sake, it's about being true. In situations where others force their voice to compensate for uncertainty, she keeps calm. She might disagree on principle, but won't raise her voice. She'll say it once, purposefully, and if it needs repeating, she will, without raising the stakes. This comes from self-respect. She knows what she stands for. She's comfortable holding boundaries without needing to beat people into submission. She doesn't talk over you. She speaks with you. And in that space of mutual respect, her presence grows. Her voice becomes magnetic. Her words, memorable. Sometimes that quiet truth-telling isn't safe. It can alienate those who thrive on drama or pressure or loudness. But that's okay. She's not here to fit in. She's here to be real. That confidence, that willingness to risk being misunderstood is what makes her irresistible and rare. When she speaks, you listen. You don't realize how rare that is until it's gone. And when it's there, you appreciate it deeply. Because she isn't seeking applause, she's offering clarity, and that's power in its purest form. 4. She values process over outcome. A mature woman isn't obsessed with results. She's devoted to growth. She understands that life isn't a checklist, it's a canvas. She wants to feel vibrancy in the journey, not just pride at the finish line. That's why she shows up daily, on relationships, on health, on her inner life, not just when the stakes are high. Every morning she launches into small rituals, tea before sunrise, gratitude before the day begins. She trains, reads, reflects, not to perform, but to evolve. She knows transformation isn't instantaneous. It's a rhythm, and she's in it for the long haul. When she fails, she doesn't hide or quit. She recalibrates, learns, and comes back better. Pressure doesn't break her, it expands her. And even when no one's watching, she honors her own commitments. Because integrity isn't for spectacle, it's for belonging to yourself. That steady devotion shows. You notice the way she works at relationships, calls when she says she will. You notice the way she cares for herself, not because it's flashy, but because it's regular. You notice her curiosity, how she studies, explores, questions. She's a student of life. You don't just admire that, you're drawn to it, because it feels hopeful, it feels possible, It feels like something you can grow into by association. She's not just a woman, she's a way of being, a pathway toward becoming more intentional, more courageous, more present. 5. She integrates strength and softness. Here's a paradox. Her strength isn't loud. Her softness isn't weakness. A mature woman integrates both. She's decisive when she needs to be, nurturing when others need support, and fierce when injustice surfaces. She's structured enough to hold a vision, but spacious enough to allow others in. She's assertive with her needs, but flexible in her love. She's rational, ready to debate, but also intuitive and compassionate. One moment she's a warrior, the next she's a healer. This harmony, this balance, comes from deep self-acceptance. Jung called this integration of shadow and light. She has looked at her anger and tended it. She's met her pain and taught it. She's let fear speak so she could understand its message. And in each moment, she loved herself through it, wounded, flawed, alive. That brings both reliability and spontaneity. With her, you can depend, but also dream, plan, but wander, work, but rest, structure, but flow. Other people can't hold both, and that's why this rhythm is magnetic. Integrating paradoxes isn't a gimmick, it's maturity. It's giving others permission to be real too. And when someone meets her in that completeness, without needing her to be one note, they fall deeper, because they recognize something true, something human. And in a world of filters and facades, that truth is utterly irresistible. 6. She truly sees you. The final and most powerful habit, she listens, not with the intention to reply, but to understand. Her attention doesn't wander to her phone or the next thought. It rests on you. And in that space, an authentic connection is born. She remembers what you say, your anxieties, your aspirations, your small victories. She asks follow-up questions not to impress or to use in conversation later, but because she truly cares. She's emotionally present. She holds space for your vulnerabilities without judgment. When you feel seen and safe enough to speak, the effect is profound. Walls crumble, adrenaline relaxes, your story rings truer. You feel held, not fixed, but heard. And in that moment, you know you've been seen by someone powerful enough to hold your truth and kind enough to honor it. That kind of emotional presence isn't taught, it's matured. It's the product of self-awareness, humility, and effort. And it's electrifying to witness. A woman who sees you is more than a companion. She's a mirror, a catalyst, and a witness. She elevates your story, not eclipses it. You're never performing, just being. These habits aren't tricks, they aren't facade or performance. They're lived commitments to self-understanding, integrity, and compassion. A woman who embraces solitude, reflects before reacting, speaks truth softly, values growth, integrates strength and softness, and truly sees you, she isn't just irresistible. She's wise, whole, and rare. Cultivate these traits in yourself or appreciate them when you see them. Presence isn't manufactured, it's grown, struggled for, and honored. And in that honor lies beauty. If this resonated, write irresistible in the comments and tell us which of these habits you aim to embrace. Let's celebrate depth, stay wise, stay gracious. This is Psychology Insight,